Now, as someone who loves delving into cursed lore and extended continuities, I try my best to focus on the media at face value. That is, trying not to go beyond what's being presented, but to fully appreciate how much of a mess this arc was. I gotta lift the curtain a little and sneak a peek at the behind the scenes for this one, and unfortunately for me, this time around I gotta boldly go where no sane man has gone before. The shipping wars. And god damn do people care about which characters are potentially in love with who. For Sonic, and I'll admit I'm oversimplifying a lot here, this mostly fell into two distinct camps, people who wanted him to be with Sally Acorn, and those who wanted him to be with Amy Rose. Now there's actually a somewhat simple explanation for this one, namely that Sally and Amy never coexisted in any of the main continuities, Sally being a cartoon original, and Amy being a minor game character for several years. Anyone bickering that one was inherently better than the other is basically trying to compare different roles across different forms of media. There wasn't really a good way to compare them throughout the 90s. Unless you're into the Archie comics. Oh Archie, you sneaky sons of bitches. Having both Amy and Sally in the comic continuity accidentally set up the perfect Archie love triangle. Think of your favourite or most iconic love triangle stories, and chances are that the OG Archie comics set up the template for that show or comic, etc. People still refer to love triangle romance interests as being the Betty or the Veronica, to a point where it's almost transcended the original context. They are pretty much the pioneers of the love triangle genre. The Sonic comics had way too many love triangles, too many for me to name them all, so I went to TV Tropes to get a list, and even TV Tropes couldn't be bothered listing all the love triangles in the series. The stars had aligned for the Sonic comic writers here. They were already adding romance subplots to the story, and now they stumbled into a love triangle that could be milked for years, possibly decades. All they had to do was occasionally tease one pairing, then tease the other, return to the status quo, and watch on as pouring gasoline onto the shipping flame wars translates into cold hard cash in their wallets. They had the perfect setup for their own brand of love triangle. Except that's not what they did at all. In fact, they actively hated both ends of this love triangle, which, okay, fair enough, you'd think is a good thing, except they made baffling decision after baffling decision with it. First they had Sonic officially go out with Sally, but introduced another character, this weird Pepe Le Pew MI5 James Bond looking dickhead, that she would sometimes fawn over, just to make Sonic jealous. The writer hated Sally so much that he tried to kill her off. Oh boy, that didn't go over too well. Then they put other roadblocks in the way, and when that still didn't work, he just had Sally's dad say, "I'm the king, you're not allowed to date Sonic anymore because the divination goo told me so." No, I didn't make that last part up either. All of this because, in the writer's own words, Sally just cramped Sonic's style, man. Now hindsight's 2020 and all, but maybe write the characters better in that case? On the other hand, they didn't want Amy going out with Sonic because she was too young in the comics. She was introduced as a young fangirl who stanned Sonic at every opportunity, and the age difference was just a bit too much. Fair enough, maybe that's also a good call when you think of, oh god, why did they magically age her up? I know they needed Amy to look more like her game counterpart, but it seems like it could easily have been solved by just having her change outfit. Instead, the gang finds a magical ring that will grant any one wish, and while everyone's deliberating on how to best use it, world peace, a cure for all diseases, anything useful, Amy accidentally comes across it while thinking, gee, I sure wish I was old enough to go out with Sonic. And hey presto. Everyone points out she can't join the Freedom Fighters or go with Sonic because she's still a kid mentally, just in a teenager's body. This has to be proof that no one at Sega read these comics, right? So now that the writers have managed to completely botch every aspect of this love triangle, have a guess at what decision they came up with next. If your answer was create an entirely new character and have her win the shipping war, then unfortunately you're starting to think too much like an Archie comic writer. Yes, their genius play here was to make up a waifu for Sonic from the ground up, in a way that feels like the direct result of a 30-minute boardroom meeting. Introducing Mina Mongoose. She can run super fast, just like Sonic. She's a singer, sort of like Sonic, he plays guitar. One of her parents was roboticized by Eggman, just like Sonic. She helps the denizens of her village heroically, like Sonic, I guess? She teams up with Sonic to help some local kids and develops a crush on him, which is soon further hammered home when they do that cliché running headfirst into each other from going around a corner spot. What if we were to go out? Just kidding. Unless... Oh yeah, and at this point in the story, they had definitively beaten Robotnik, and everything was slowly returning to normal. One of their prizes for this victory was the chance to go to school. God damn it, Archie, how did you manage to find a way to put Sonic in fucking school? They fast-tracked this relationship along by having Mina and Sonic be classmates, though to be fair, the writers realised pretty quickly that Sonic would simply just not go to school, like ever. Holy shit, is that the Speedy the Porcupine? They got Speedy the Porcupine in this universe? She ends up joining the Freedom Fighters instead, so that she can continue to share precious screen time. Comic time? With the blue blur. Fans seem to hate Mina, presumably because she was a walking, talking Mary Sue at that point, with some bonus anger from pissed off shippers. Archie's next move was an absolute panicky clusterfuck, as expected. They teased Sonic going out with Bunny Rabo for a while, then tried to reframe the series as Sonic the Harem Hog, then cut their losses by just having him get back together with Sally right in front of Mina. Oh, and then Sally dumped him again about 5 issues later or so. But seeing Sonic and Sally reconcile after a mission to rescue Sally from a kidnap attempt absolutely crushed Mina. Like, holy shit, look at this page. Terrible idea, but 10 out of 10 execution. You can pinpoint the exact moment where her heart snapped in two. Well, Sonic and Sally being all lovey-dovey distracts them both from Fang the Sniper, who aims his gun and fires at Sonic's back. Being the only one switched onto the situation, Mina, broken heart and all, goes full on, "Get down, Mr. President!" to take the bullet for Sonic. It's cool though, she survives being shot in the arm, and decides to retire from the Freedom Fighters, opting instead to focus on her punk pop idol career. She eventually winds up dating her manager, Ash the Mongoose, whose entire character is be a dick to Sonic at every opportunity. He eventually gets annoyed at Mina for writing song after song about how cool Sonic is, and just when it seems like he's about to break up with her, he suddenly jumps on a bomb to save her life. "Get down, Mrs. President!" Damn, I guess the moral of the story here is that you gotta heroically sacrifice yourself for someone after they break up with you. It's not even the worst piece of advice from the series, to be honest. This time, though, it does actually save their relationship. Mina and Ash stay together for many years after this, except for the arc where they show what happens in the future 25 years later. It turns out she settles down and marries and has kids with Tails, of all people. Like, look at his face, you know this fox but in the present, it seems like she stays with Ash indefinitely, until the universe resets. Twice. She eventually went on to become a Rage Against the Machine type rock artist who uses her music to bring attention to how fucked society is when you really think about it. Like, an AI could literally teleport into people's homes and theoretically just murder them if it ever went rogue, which in fact more or less happens in one of the arcs. There's even a good panel of Sally listening to Mina's new musical direction and getting angry at how political she got. Oh, and Sally wins in the 25 years later timeline. Well, sort of, until she marries Shadow. That's a story for a different episode.